we're going to be responsible for a huge part of that secondary market for the A380 and the second coming of the A380.
Wow, it really seems to be happening. Going from an unlikely idea to then acquiring the first aircraft to unveiling a schedule and now making those first flights available to purchase. It truly looks like Global Airlines will be able to operate its first A380 flight in mid-May. With the inaugural flight coming soon and bookings now available, we thought we'd take today's video to look at the scheduling of these first services and how much Global is selling tickets for. So, let's get started. Global Airlines has opened bookings for its inaugural flights from 2 cities in the United Kingdom to New York City, JFK to be precise. Depending on the class and route, prices range from $373 to $4,647, although tickets are being sold in British pounds. However, the startup airline, which aims to become another Airbus A380 operator, still lacks its very own Air Operator's Certificate or AOC. As a result, the inaugural flights are technically being operated by Portugal-based wet lease specialist carrier Highfly.
Working with Highfly sends a very clear message to anybody who is skeptical in any way, shape or form about what it is that we are achieving here.
At the end of March, Global launched a website for the public to pre-register for tickets on the first round of flights. At the time, this didn't allow people to actually buy tickets, but it at least gave the public an idea of flight origins, destinations, and scheduling. In case you missed it, here's what was revealed. The very first Global Airlines service takes place May 15th and departs Glasgow, Scotland at 11 a.m. It's then scheduled to arrive at New York JFK at 1 in the afternoon. Somewhat unconventional, it's not exactly a quick turnaround and return to Glasgow. Rather, the return service to the UK is scheduled to depart JFK on May 19th, 4 days later. Even more unconventional is that this is a daytime service rather than the more common overnight flights to Europe that most airlines offer. Then, shortly after arriving back in Glasgow, it looks like the A380 will be repositioned to Manchester, where it will again fly to JFK on May 21st. Departure from Manchester is at 12:25 in the afternoon, with arrival at JFK at 14:25. And then, a few days later, on May 25th, the jet will fly back to Manchester at 08:55, again as a daytime service. After a flight time of 6 hours and 45 minutes, the service is scheduled to arrive at 20:40 local time. A source who is not connected with Global Airlines but has set up an airline before told a Simple Flying team member that the 4-day turnaround at JFK is possibly because the carrier cannot yet sell tickets from the US as an origin, and so those passengers flying to JFK will be going back 4 days later, something more akin to a vacation package charter flight. To add credibility to this assertion, we tried ourselves to book a one-way flight from JFK to either Glasgow or Manchester. While there is the illusion of having this ability at the start, submitting these flight search queries won't provide you with any results. Things get even weirder in that one-way flights aren't bookable at all despite the existence of a one-way option. So even if wanting to fly one-way from Glasgow or Manchester, it doesn't appear to be a bookable option, at least not at the time we're making this video. But for flights that are bookable, what are the prices and what do those tickets include? Well, before we break things down, we have to emphasize that this is not an underhanded way to promote the airline's flights and flight prices. Rather, we're sure many of you are curious about all of these details, and so we're doing the research and presenting it all in a video for your convenience and entertainment. The flights are selling tickets in economy, nicknamed Global Traveller, business, and first class. Pricing is listed in pound sterling. We know the majority of our audience is American, but as currency exchange rates have been all over the place lately, accuracy of pricing would suffer if we converted everything to US dollars. However, we'll just say that at the time of making this video, £1 equates to $1.32. And so here is the pricing for Glasgow to JFK. The airline says that for all classes, child fares are charged at 70% of the adult ticket price, while infant fares are charged at 10% of the adult ticket price. In economy class, your ticket includes one cabin bag up to 10 kilograms, as well as one piece of checked baggage up to 23 kilograms. Name changes will not be allowed for this ticket. A business class ticket includes one cabin bag up to 16 kilograms in weight, as well as 2 pieces of checked baggage up to 32 kilograms each. First class travellers are also entitled to bring 1 piece of carry-on baggage with a maximum weight of 16 kilograms. They also have a checked baggage allowance of 3 pieces up to 32 kilograms each. All classes include a meal on board, and it would be safe to assume that meals get better with more expensive classes. With first and business class, the passenger name is changeable, but a fee may be applied. In all classes, fees will apply for both refunds and rebooking, but the airline doesn't list anywhere on this website what those refund, rebooking and name change costs will be. Scrolling down, here is the cost of flights from New York back to Glasgow. Now, this price breakdown is somewhat deceptive, as it doesn't appear that a traveller can even book a one-way flight. However, it's not a completely useless unbundling of prices. That's because it appears that a traveller can book a particular class of travel going in one direction and then a different cabin for the return flight. That would be quite nice for travellers wanting to experience different travel classes, or for those who just want a taste of business or first class while saving money on the other flight. And to complete the picture, here are the prices for the Manchester services, which across the board appear to be lower than fares for the Glasgow JFK flights. It should also be noted that we made our way through the booking process to see what kind of extras were on offer in that third stage. Well, sadly, after entering our traveller information, we discovered that no extras were available. But to wrap things up, we're less than a month away from Global's first service. Will it actually happen? Well, that same contact we talked to about Global's inaugural services suggested that these flights will go ahead for one reason: future funding is probably dependent on it. So, sure, they'll probably take off, but they could be quite empty. There's no guarantee of any future flights. Unfortunately, given the current state of geopolitics, it appears to be an extremely unfortunate coincidence that Global Airlines is launching transatlantic service at this point in time. According to numerous reports, Europeans are opting to avoid travel to the United States, and as a result, airlines have been cutting their airfares to try and fill their scheduled services. But of course, we are wishing success for the airline and hoping for future Global Airlines flights, whether they be to the US or somewhere else in the world. So we'd love to hear from you about all of this. What do you think of pricing, the airline's inability to offer one-way flights, and the timing of services? Let us know by leaving a comment. Simple Flying publishes over 150 articles every week. If you're looking for the latest aviation news and insights, visit simpleflying.com.